dominated by women of the world.
What is grief, if not love persevering?
I will rise!
Open your eyes!
What's going on, everyone? It's Simp. Welcome back to the channel. Here's my video for the very confusing post-Endgame timeline in the MCU. I know there's been a lot of questions and speculation lately about where everything lines up, especially after the Hawkeye director might have misspoke about when their show takes place, so allow me to explain. And if you like Marvel, the MCU comics, and everything in between, subscribe to the channel. Other than that, let's get into the video. Let's go. So Phase 4 has given us a bunch of new projects, and as we know, Endgame takes place during late fall, roughly in October or November of 2023. So Far From Home and every project after that of course takes place after the events of Endgame, as we see with a lot of in-universe references to the post-blip. Now specifically, Loki is directly during or after Endgame. Technically it takes place at any point in time because the TVA is beyond time, but for our own sanity and in terms of where it's supposed to be legitimately placed, it's the first Phase 4 project in terms of chronological order. We don't know for sure how much time passes, if I can recall, but it would have to take place in 2023, literally simultaneously or right after Endgame. And because of the events of Loki, What If branches off of the ending of this show, placing it directly after Loki in the universe, even though it is not a part of our main storytelling universe or the sacred timeline. And that's really all you have to know about What If as of right now. Now, as for WandaVision, it is 3 weeks after Endgame, which places it within the back half of 2023 based off the leaves and outfits of certain characters in the show. This is likely very late November. The scene that shows Monica being blipped or snapped back is of course during Endgame, and then it flashes to an on-screen title saying 3 weeks later when she returns to her job at S.W.O.R.D. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier is a little bit more difficult. It's about half a year after Endgame, so this would place it, let's just say, about 6 months after, putting it at around April 2024 or loosely between March and May. When the producers and writers spoke about this show, they did mention this 6-month or half a year time gap, so that's what I'm referring to when I talk about this. I think Shang-Chi is the most confusing one of Phase 4 so far, and probably the one that most people have questions about, but honestly it's not too confusing. So Shang-Chi of course takes place after Endgame, and there's clues that tell us it's actually near the same time as Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And during Shang-Chi, there are posters that mention post-blip support groups, so it's definitely in 2024, and the Falcon and the Winter Soldier had these same types of posters in their show as well. Now the biggest clue is when Katie's grandmother also makes references to celebrating the upcoming Day of the Dead. In Chinese culture, this is their answer or equivalent to the Day of Remembrance that takes place in the first week of April. Coupling that with Shang-Chi and Katie's 2 interactions with their friends during the movie, they make it a point to mention that it's been 2 weeks since they last met. So Shang-Chi's events take place over a 2-week span, giving us the idea that the movie takes place in April of 2024, or at the very latest, sometime in May. Now after Shang-Chi comes Far From Home, which takes place 8 months after Endgame, putting it in early summer of 2024, likely about June or July. Obviously Eternals spanned over thousands of years, but the core of the story takes place in June or July of 2024 as well. So just like Far From Home, it was 8 months after Endgame, and Marvel Studios producer Nate Moore spoke with Empire magazine, saying that it does take place right around the same time as Far From Home. So that's full confirmation directly from a head producer at Marvel Studios. But now we get onto the true present of the MCU, and No Way Home picks up directly after where Far From Home leaves off. In the new trailer for No Way Home, Peter mentions things have only been normal for a week, which is from the time that he told MJ that he was Spiderman and when Mysterio then put his identity on public blast. So No Way Home will very briefly be in summer of 2024, but then time jump around the same time as Hawkeye, so very late November or December of 2024. Now what makes things confusing is the Hawkeye director came out today and said that their show takes place 2 years after Endgame, but that's actually not true at all. From when Endgame finishes to when Hawkeye starts, it'll just be over about a year or about 13 to 14 months at that point. The Hawkeye director did confirm though that the movie takes place just about after No Way Home, but in a way it might overlap. Hawkeye is of course set during Christmas of 2024, if you couldn't tell from all the Christmas marketing and placement in the show, but there's also a sign in the background of one of the sets talking about New Year 2025. So where it gets interesting is Kingpin is expected to make his debut in episode 4 or 5 of the Hawkeye show, which legit comes right after when No Way Home is releasing in theaters. And we all know that Matt Murdock or Daredevil will be introduced in No Way Home as well, so it's unknown if there will be a full connection here with him and Kingpin, but if you know the characters, it's no surprise they are coming essentially as a package deal during the same time in the universe. There was also a leaked set photo of Tom Holland on the set of No Way Home, and it looks like there's snow, so this does confirm once again that it'll take place in Christmas or December of 2024. So that explains all of the projects so far since Endgame, and of course Doctor Strange will be taking place soon as well. Because of the schedule changes, they actually had to adjust the No Way Home script. It was supposed to come out after Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, but then it was pushed before, so they had to switch up a couple things. The last one I'll touch on though, even though it doesn't really matter right now, is She-Hulk. Based on this picture here, people including myself thought this might be maybe during Endgame or before it, but I think Bruce has just found a way to reverse or somehow correct his debilitating arm, so we'll get answers on that soon. My guess is likely in the fall or summer of 2024 after the scene in Shang-Chi where we see Bruce. So hopefully this cleared things up for you. If you made it this far into the video, let me know your thoughts about the timeline and theories you have for She-Hulk. Drop a like if you enjoyed, subscribe to the channel for all MCU movies and Disney Plus show coverage and more. Other than that, I just want to say thank you. I'm another Marvel guy, and I'll catch y'all on the blip.